Buddy, and we're back with more of Let's Play Suzerain. So I've gone back and forth a couple times. I think I'm just going to continue where I was going with the original playthrough, because I guess it kind of represents what my actual feelings were on the issue. The dictator constitution is kind of larpy, and let's just kind of continue going the way we were going. I think that makes the most sense, to be honest. So we're just going to continue on with the reformist constitution, but it's going to be democracy with Argent characteristics, as I so aptly put it. So let me just make sure everything is up and running. Is the Twitch stream going? Yep, Twitch stream is going good. YouTube stream is going. Cool, cool. So we'll just give it a minute and then we will start Suzerain. We're actually on a pretty interesting part because we're going to be looking at the constitutional amendments. So. Ugh. Yep, so as you can see, Kingdom of Rizia is coming soon. So, I want... let me check if this is the most... Now I don't know which one it was. I think this is it. All right. Hello, John Be Bad. I'm more of a fan of Johnny Be Good, to be honest, but Johnny Be Bad sounds pretty good. Is that like the techno remix of Johnny Be Good? No, I think this is the one we were on. Try this out. Am I just like high or something? Okay. Maybe it was Democracy with Argent. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to remember which one I'm on. Don't worry, this gives people time to show up to the stream. Happy Thanksgiving. Well, it's not Thanksgiving. I guess it's Freedom Thanksgiving, but it was Leaf Thanksgiving like a month ago. So I ignore your Thanksgiving and substitute my own. Okay, repeal of the APA. Dinner with Business Council. Okay, I'm just trying to find where I was. Let's try that. I forget, did I do anything for Thanksgiving this year? No, I don't think I did. I think I just sat at home and cried. So, such is life. Suzerain quest for the meth state. Do Turks is that the big thing in Turkey? Meth? I think it's more, or is it more of a heroin location? So I'm just trying to figure out where my which one it is. Okay, so this would be from the 22nd. This would be okay, 22nd. Let's try that one. There we go. Finalization of the drafted constitutional changes. Okay, I was walking to my office since today was the day to edit and make final final changes to the Constitution of Swordland. The Reform Committee finally brought me tangible results, and the draft of the Constitution was about to be presented to me. So the goal here is to make it look like we're passing a democratic constitution, but to leave it open for me to change later on. What normally winds up happening in governments like this, like in the case of Mexico, is you pass a constitution that looks really democratic, that looks really liberal, that looks like it's all about popular sovereignty, and then you abuse the heck out of it and you do stuff like so. Diaz ran on the platform of no reelection. So what he did was there was like he said, "I'm not going to run for reelection." So in the next election, he ran as the vice president, and then the president resigned, and then he became president again, and then he removed uh, the term limits from the Constitution. So he did run the campaign of no reelection. Yes, the Russian Federation. The Russian Federation, I think it's called managed democracy or guided democracy, where it has a lot of aspects of a democratic state, but it's kind of authoritarian. It's if you played Kaiserreich, Russia is basically what like an authoritarian democrat regime is. I'd say like Singapore's like that. Japan has aspects of that. Okay, good morning, Livia. Okay. I'm just going to skip this. I don't care what this thought has to say. Okay. Okay, greetings. Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning. Time to finally get this proposal going. After your modifications, we will start the process. Okay, so let's look at the different points. Well, apart from the first two sections decreasing the Supreme Court's authority and limiting the presidential vetoes, nothing else has been agreed upon. We can start talking about Section 3. This is the impeachment process of the president. Currently, in cases of high treason and breaking Constitution, the Supreme Court may try to impeach the president. Most reformists want the impeachment to be initiated by the Assembly. They think that they do not have any power over potential rogue presidents that would abuse their power, which is good for me because my party controls the Assembly, whereas the Supreme Court is controlled by the deep state. So, so that's good. Mm. We need to define a better impeachment process. Okay, Section 4, appointment of ministers. Yes, you can participate in a genocidal campaign with Saddam Hussein. You can also win the war with Rumberg. I'm not doing a war playthrough though. This is regarding the appointment of ministers. Currently, the president is free to appoint anyone from the members of the assembly. Nobody else is involved in the process. There's a demand to involve the assembly in the process. I'm going to go with the confidence vote. So, a confidence vote is basically I would put up, say, Nia as my nominee for Minister of Justice, and then the assembly can vote to confirm them or reject them. This is kind of how Supreme Court justices work at the moment in the United States. Um, that seems very reasonable to me. I still that they have no. I still have the power to appoint them, and so long as Swordland remains a de facto one-party state, it's not really an issue. Electoral threshold. Um, okay. The 10% threshold is what allowed us to control half the assembly with one third of the majority in the elections. Uh, let's see here. This is out of the question. Let's see. Representative democracy. Yeah, if you lower the threshold below 10%, that would allow the Bloodish Workers' Party and the Communist Party to enter. Also, the USP would lose its majority. Um, we can't just give away our majority like this. Okay, Section 6. This is about the presidential decrees. Reformists demand more limitations to the president's executive powers. Mr. Richter has demanded they be completely removed. I have suggested to bring some limitations to decrees regarding their applicability. While we should keep them, we should try to make sure they are only used in emergency situations. Um, I don't think the presidential decrees need any reforms. Me neither. I think it's important that the president can act quickly on matters of national interest. Yeah, that's what I tend to do. I'm keeping decrees the way they are. We're not expending decrees, and I think the executive needs the ability to make executive things. We're going to go with term limits because, once again, we are going to go with the the campaign of I'm only going to run for 2 terms, but I'm going to change the Constitution's second term. Okay. Okay, the last one. Well, the anti-old guard sentiment is increasing. There are talks about taking away their immunity would give us authority over the judiciary. I do not support taking away that power. The judiciary must be independent. Um, let's see here. Um, they should be able to be impeached. Let's see here. So Soul has the Member of Honor title, which gives him a whole bunch of stuff. He gets a bunch of gibs from the government. He gets his house paid for. He gets uh, his own, like, basically private island. He has a permanent vote in the National Assembly, and he's immune to all kinds of stuff. I've been doing a playthrough as a communist to ruin the country. Thanks for the streams. Thank you, Zora. I appreciate it. Let's see this one. Okay, I'm gonna ball. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we are going to put forward the proposal to abolish the Member of Honor position, but it's going to be a point. We're going to use it as a negotiation tactic with the Conservatives. So when I go to the Conservatives, I'm going to ask. I'm going to get the Conservative support by by going to the sorry, I'm losing my train of thought here for a minute. By going to the Conservatives and saying, okay, we won't revoke the Member of Honor thing, so long as you allow us to pass the other stuff we want. So okay, let's start working on the draft. Okay, so presidential vetoes. According to Article 77 and 82, the president may veto a bill by returning it to the assembly with a written statement. The articles do not contain any information on how to override a veto. So the president basically has absolute veto power. Now, I think a 2/3 majority can override, seems fair. Once again, my party controls the assembly. And it seems hard to me that, like, I don't think my party even has. I don't think the United Storyland Party even has 2/3 of the assembly. So they would have to get one of the opposition parties to join in, and I just think in practice that's fine. 2/3, 3/4. Okay, the Supreme Court is getting rid of the ability of the Supreme Court to vote on constitutional amendments. Okay, impeachment of the president. According to Article 17, the president of Swordland is not responsible for the actions performed in the exercise of presidential duties, except in the case of get through the parliament with it. With what? I don't have the option to not remove vetoes because I'm not. I didn't go with the dictator constitution this time. In such cases, the president may be impeached by the Supreme Court in joint session with an absolute majority of its members. So currently, only the Supreme Court is able to do it. So we're going to try to make this look more democratic, but it's going to be less democratic. So we're going to say that the Assembly and Supreme Court have to both do it together. Um, no, I'm not going social democrat. I'm going like conservative. Um, so confidence voice vote is required. Confidence vote seems fine. They can't pick ministers. We're leaving the threshold at 10%. We are. Oh, I can't. Oh no, do not change. Okay, there we go. Actually, let me see here. Can I change the veto power? No, I don't have the option to leave it. That's fine though. Okay, so confidence vote is required. Do not change. I'm leaving my power to enact decrees intact because and then we're going to also introduce that. Um, immunity of justices. I'm going to leave this because we're taking away most of the Supreme Court's power, anyways. So long as they can't impeach me, I can deal with them in other ways. I'm going to go with okay. So this is a game thing. Article 99. Okay, so I could change this so that every president becomes a member of honor after their service, which would be the dictatorship run one. I am not going to do that though because this game doesn't go into a second term, so it doesn't really matter. This has no impact on gameplay, so we're just gonna game it and go with that. Okay. Looks like the amendments are ready to be posed. Any comments? Peter says no problems. Nia says no problems. Okay, we can proceed immediately. All right, I will handle them. No, if you join ATO and then go to war with Rumberg, it causes a nuclear war because both sides have nuclear weapons. Okay. All right, let's talk with the. I think we talked with the conservatives first. Oh no, we have to do the Energy Protection Act. At the moment, the sun streamed through the window. Okay. All right. Good morning, David. I love David. Okay. Quinol. What's quinol? I'm assuming that that is um Zinan. Um okay, so Zinan, we have the free cities. So I'm imagining that that is either Japan or Korea. That is a reference to. My mind is carried back to those formative years. I'm just going through this. I'll read it later on. I do not agree with all the measures enacted by the technocratic government of that era, but some were undeniably effective. So I'm gonna say based. I like technocracy actually. Um, it has to be within the context of like a non-democratic society that is run by conservatives. Let's see here. Okay. Okay. Right, the founder of the republic. My father was a visionary, a man who sought to modernize Swordland into a secular democratic republic. That is really Giesler. His ability to mobilize public support for revolutionary change has always been a constant inspiration to me. In a way, Saul did carry on my father's legacy. Under his leadership, we transitioned from a military government to a civilian one and experienced our first multi-party elections. Okay, his victory succumbed to the more pragmatic, more conservative, and sometimes even regressive dictates of political survival. Uh, by having imbibed American politics, I'm not opposed to changes like the ones he did. Well, like I said, I view it more as modernizing the Constitution because it's actually increasing my power in a way by defanging the Supreme Court, um, while leaving basically my other powers intact. So I think that's pretty good. Okay, let's see here. Um, yeah, so basically, it prevents foreign ownership of the energy protection of Swordland's energy. So I am going to go with the 49% privatization because I think that that is a good compromise. Even if we manage to stabilize our economy, loosening the APA regulations could be beneficial. By creating an attractive environment for foreign investors, we can ensure that Swordland is not merely surviving but thriving in the long term. Promoting a market economy does not inherently translate to prosperity for all. I mean, it's the only way to bring about prosperity is through a market economy. I mean, the whole the market economy and capitalism are just such vague terms because a market economy doesn't mean you're Ancapistan. So, let's see here. It can lead to a concentration of wealth with the rich getting richer while the middle and working classes struggle. Okay. All right. All right. We're just going to consider this. Okay. So the current cap is 20%. Okay, in my view, it was necessary. So we're going to do quite a few. Uh, we're doing partial privatization of a lot of stuff. It's probably further than I might go in real life. But Swordland is in massive financial trouble. Um, yeah, I'm having cooperative capitalism or public private partnership. Um, the money though, I think it's okay to sell off. Okay, let me be careful about this. So I'm privatizing a lot of stuff. The money is going into education, healthcare, security, and infrastructure, which will all have good long term consequences for the nation. So I'm okay doing that so long as it's just not going into the black pit of something. Okay. Um. Okay. So let's see here. I'm sure you're right about that, but we have to remember that we're dealing with national security as well as economics. Reverting back to the Sol era 10% limit or keeping the law as it is would be a safer approach. No, we're not going to go with that. I'm going to go with the 49%. I think the 49% is fair. Let's see here. Okay, so we're going to do partial privatization. Okay, I firmly believe in the sovereignty and strength of our nation. Returning the threshold to 10% as it was during the Sol era could protect us from undue foreign influence and ensure that our energy sector remains in Swordish hands. It's kind of funny. I actually learned a lot about my political views when I played this game. I'm a lot more of a market guy than I thought I was. Like I'm not Ancapistan or anything, but I almost always side with the market in this. Okay. Um, let's see here. So we're gonna raise the threshold. Uh, um. Okay. Okay, so we are going to go with raising the threshold to 49%, which I think that is fair. That allows us to maintain control of the energy sector by bringing in foreign investment. So that's good. Okay. Thank Olivia. Coffee for me, please. I'm sure Sordish coffee is probably like Turkish coffee. Okay. Okay. Collaboration is good. I'm de- I'm debating whether or not I'm going to sign the workers' rights bill. I'm also not sure if I'm gonna increase taxes or not. Okay, so we'll see. Ireland has a like Ireland's economy is fake because it's a tax haven. It's like the Cayman Islands of Europe. So it's like it doesn't really represent what you think it represents. Okay, let us continue to work together for the good of Swordland. David's such a nice guy. I like him. Even though I disagree with his like liberalism, he does seem like a nice guy to me. Okay, dinner with the business council members. Okay, so we're gonna meet with the oligarchs now. Okay, we're meeting with this like sack of weirdos and degenerates. So we have Walter Tusk, who is head of the Lothberg Group. He also owns The Economist. We have this dude. I don't know even know who he is. We have this person. I don't know who she is either. Basically, just like the oligarchs of the country. Recommended the Latch Haven salmon of this place, Mr. President. I know you are from Latch Haven, but I bet you haven't tasted anything like this before. I'm gonna order the salmon, and I'm gonna get salad with it. Okay, Mr. President, didn't have the possibility to thank you for coming today. Your presence means a great deal. Indeed, sir, it is an honor to dine with you. It's great to be here with the members of the Business Council. Okay, Simon brought us here. Okay, all right, so we're just drinking some really expensive wine. Oh, she's the head of the central bank? Okay. Oh, Edith is actually pretty good? Okay, cool. All right, we'll go with that. Yeah, Swordland has a lot of female politicians. I'm glad that they actually like gave an explanation for it. That it's like to give the pretense that they're like progressive while maintaining the conservative values. Because a lot of the women that they gave power to are very conservative. Uh, Reminds me of my father's vineyard. Okay, thank you. Like to toast to all of you today. Let's see here. For a prosperous swordland. Okay. Uh, this can't get old in experience. The chef must be tipped. Okay. Tipping is no small thing. I actually don't like giving tips. People have salaries for a reason. What an F slur. Now, I think tips are bullshit, to be honest. But in a lot of Western countries, well, in North America, um, uh, in North America, like in the states in particular, people get paid less if you're in a job that has tips. So like your entire income, if you're like a waiter or bartender or something, comes from tips. In Europe, from my understanding, is they just have a gratuity. Like they just have like 5, 10, 15% on the meal, and then that just goes to the wait staff. So like they do get something based on the number of people they serve, but it's I don't know. No, like it's bullshit, but I always tip. The thing I don't like though is that they ask you for tips when you're getting takeout. So like if I go to get buy a piece of pizza, they ask for a tip. The machine asks for a tip, and it's just like I kind of don't. I don't just the way I grew up. You tip for like your waiter for their service because they've been waiting on you. I just don't think it's necessarily the same thing with someone standing behind a counter. That being said, I do always tip at least a bit because I've been there. I've worked shitty minimum wage jobs. I think everybody, no matter how wealthy their background, should have to work a service job for 6 months. I think that will teach you humility. I think it'll teach you respect for other people. And I think you will be a much better person for the experience. And you won't be like a Karen and just abuse the people around you. Uh, as I've said, that was the reason I turned on America First was because Baked Alaska was like attacking and harassing minimum wage employees. Um, but what was I thinking of? Completely lost my train of thought there. Wow, that was bad. Okay. Oh, right, America First. So when Baked Alaska was assaulting and harassing employees, like he would go up and just start like yelling at employees particularly if they were wearing masks, like if they were food service employees who were wearing masks, he would just start start doing that. So, and then Nick said it was based, and I think he was probably being ironic, but he's like, I believe in hierarchy as a conservative, and it's my right, and Baked Alaska's right to like harass minimum wage employees. And I'm like, good luck with that whole working class movement. Let's see here. Uh-huh. Okay, the project will boost the economy. The relief package was also a great investment. It has saved many businesses from declaring bankruptcy. I'd like to congratulate you. Thank you for your support, Mr. Avon. No, because people were complaining to Nick about Baked Alaska doing that, and they said it was bad optics, and Nick said that it was based. So, although I think Baked Alaska snaked on him in the end. Ralph snaked on him, and Baked Alaska snaked on him, which I said like immediately. I'm like, dude, don't bring Ethan Ralph on. Ethan Ralph is nuts. Ethan Ralph has like ruined every relationship. Okay. Like, don't get me wrong. I have a friend who worked for a bank doing customer service, and he learned to hate poor people doing that because he just had to deal with so many poor people who had no impulse control, and they would just spend like they'd run up like thousands of dollars of lottery tickets and like booze on their credit card that they couldn't afford. So like don't get me wrong, the poor aren't necessarily more virtuous than the rich. In a lot of cases they're pretty shitty, but they're still like part of your society. Okay. This is kind of boring. Uh we don't talk much since I became president. Don't stress yourself over it. My advice would be to make sure that Frank has a solid relationship with you. He is your future after all. That is unfortunately Frank is going to grow up to be a shitlib. He's going through his teenage period. Okay. Uh, his son stole the yacht. Okay. No, it's just my point is not is just to say that like there is a tendency to over idealize the poor. A lot of poor white people like are not religious and are not conservative. They're like hedonistic, like atheists, and they're degenerates. But there's a lot of good poor people. My point is just that like it's more complicated than rich good, poor bad, or poor good, rich bad. There's shitty people at all levels of society, and there's good people at all levels of society. Maybe that's the underclass is not though. I think they're called like the lumpen proletariat, or as my friend likes to call them, the stealing class and the dealing class. Okay, so now they're talking about a distinction between poor people and lumpen proletariat. Yeah, the lumpen proletariat is like the stealing class and the dealing class. I think Antifa is like 80% lumpen proletariat and like 20% rich people. Um, So yeah, so the old guard got took down Alfonso. So we're hearing once again that the deep state was behind Alfonso's downfall, and that was the reason that none of this stuff really worked out. Walter, stop with the conspiracy theories. I think we've had enough drinks. Okay, I'm gonna toast with the Artesian whiskey to a constructive and beneficial future. To the future. Okay. Thank you, Edith. Okay. Walter is gonna try to bribe me, so I'm just gonna ignore him and leave. Okay, here we go. We're finally at the budget allocation meeting. Okay. I would like. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Great to see you. Hey, Mr. President. Okay, some of the people can't be there. Okay, that's so annoying. Lisa Graff, may the Lord be with them. Sierra gives a barely disguised eye roll. Before we begin, is nobody going to mention the ban on the Red Youth? Um, okay. If you have problems with the ban, call a separate meeting with me. Okay. Uh, okay. Thanks to Simon's expertise. Okay. I like Simon's good at what he does. Um, he's an autist, but I like him. Okay, maintain, increase, or decrease funding. Increasing will result in improvement of the branch and unlock new policy options. Maintaining will keep the funding. Decreasing will cause a loss of efficiency to the breach. Okay. We have to be careful for what we fund, so we have resources remaining for another investment project. Um, I'm gonna just keep it steady, stable. I'm not gonna decrease the budget. Okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna skip through this because okay. Okay, so healthcare we are going to increase. I think that was my promise actually was to increase the healthcare budget. So healthcare is going to be increased, law and order is going to be increased, education is going to be increased, and the military is going to be kept the same. Um, so that puts us at -2 budget, which is quite manageable. I think it's -7 budget that triggers the debt crisis. So we're just going to go with that. Sir, okay, that should be all. The funding and increase of funding is very welcome. We can finally go after some comprehensive improvements by building new schools. Okay, so there we go. Education is our future, will not be sidelined. Military is next. It's a shame the military won't be getting an increase. I will have to make sacrifices to maintain our defense. Yeah, sorry about that. But we're just going to leave it as it is. wrap it all up. Okay. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time. Okay, now we get to decide. Okay, so let's take a look at what we've got. Okay, so law and order. We have court backlog, unfair election funding, limited women's rights, judicial rivalry, media bias. So the justice situation is not going good. The military is very meh at the moment. The economy is like not going terrible. I have consistent economy. So consistent economy means that the various things I'm doing work together. So my policies have been pro business and they've been consistently pro business. So that's been working okay. Welfare seems to be doing pretty good. Um, a lot of these things are really bad though. So let's see here. I think wealth. Oh no, a new swordland. Okay, we're at chapter 2. Once again, I may or may not have given myself a little bit of extra budget, but it is what it is. So I think I'm gonna okay. I think I'm gonna veto this. I'm gonna veto this, and there's an opportunity to pass it later. Um, and I will take that opportunity. I think it costs less if I pass it later. Okay, regional investment decision. Okay, revitalize one of the top 3 economically fragile regions by boosting the municipality. Um, uh, we're gonna go with Angland, I think. Okay, budget allocation of law enforcement. Okay, very well. What urgent matter? She said something about supply distribution for the police force is nothing major. While we wait, why don't we have a little chat? This might come off as a little strange, but I'm proud of you. Despite everything, you're actually trying to reform the country. Um, thank you. Certainly have a way with words, don't you? Their words, actions are what important. Okay. So Nia likes me actually, despite being like kind of a conservative. And how do we do that? Okay, so Nia wants to set up the anti-corruption police, and Graf wants to set up the secret police. I've decided I'm going to go with the anti-corruption police because the opposition leaders aren't really a threat to me. The old guard is a threat to me, and this will give me dirt on them so I can blackmail the deep. This will allow me to dismantle the deep state and increase my own power. About Lilith, I wouldn't trust her if I were. She barely finished the sentence before we heard a knock on the door. Lilius Graf entered the room. Mr. President Nia, I hope I'm not interrupting your conversation. We were just discussing a few things. Okay, security forces are not working in Bergia. Okay. This sounds very significant. Do you want to explain more? The issue was a miscommunication about an ongoing investigation inside Bergia, but as I said, it doesn't affect the results in a negative way. Um, yeah. So they have immunity, but you can still blackmail them because you can threaten to like release all their like dirty dealings to the public, and they care a lot about their legacy. Okay. BFF aligned priests currently serving in Bergia. We have discovered the existence of sanctuaries and communities in Bergia which are working directly with the BFF. Several reports also point to a possible infiltration of the Das Neutronist and were Crestis communities by the Gol Condis sects. May the divine God forgive us if that's true. Uh, who are the Gol Condis? Golkondism is an extreme fundamentalist and extremist branch of within the broad framework of Nurtridi. Uh, okay, so we're going to read a little bit about Nutrism. Nutrism is a monotheistic religion centered around the belief in the divine God and Saint Dast as his divine messenger, advocating for a more interpretive approach to religious teachings. Okay, so they also study the disciples, particularly Saint Wurchech, who they believe was a divinely appointed successor. So they look like um, they're more the Protestant section, maybe. I don't think there's an exact thing though. It's kind of a mixture of Buddhism, Christianity, and Islam. Um, okay, no, yeah, sorry. They're Shias. Des Nutri is a strict adherence to the Prophet. Um, but we have like the 11 pillars of Nutri, which is like basically it's like I said, a mixture of Islam, Buddhism, and Christianity. It's kind of weird. Practices Gokhandism. They are plague on this earth. As a devout Das Nutrist myself, I haven't experienced any divide in swordland between our religious and mainstream. All practitioners of Nutri live here in peace, except for the Golcondas. It's the names are really like awkward. Like I'm sorry, I'm having trouble like just pronouncing a lot of these. Um, to be honest. The Nutrist Republic of Durdia, Theocratic Republic located in Mercopa. Okay. Do you suspect any other countries are? Okay. Thank you for the explanation, Lilius. Let's get straight into it. We have a brief update on the situation of law enforcement. We do love law. Our cops are law enforcement. Nia? The Ministry of Justice and the Supreme Court is working in close collaboration with the Ministry of the Interior to address the protests in the country. I might add that thanks to the hard work of our judiciary, the law enforcement forces assigned to my ministry are doing their jobs effectively. Okay. So they're just yelling at each other for like no reason. They're just having a cat fight. As expected, the budget increase has boosted the morale of our employees. In these dire times, my people and Nia's people are especially delighted. I think you'll be glad to hear that the support for you among the forces is at an all-time high, Mr. President. That's good. We are very happy with the decision as well. The backlog of the court cases are dwindling. We have started to fulfill the needs of the current situation. So, once again, I'm running a lot. I'm running a deficit, but I did manage to clear up the backlog of court cases, and now we have much more effective crime fighting. Crime is really bad for the economy. It's bad for development. It's bad for the mental and spiritual health of the people. So at least the money's being spent on something worthy. Okay, thanks. I'm glad you approve. Okay, what are you actually here for? Due to the budget increases, we can start doing much more as the main branches of security and Swordland. Decision has to be made about the budget balance between the Ministry of the Interior and Minister of Justice. Okay, exactly. When deciding, you must look at the bigger picture. I believe you will make the right choice and pick the Ministry of the Interior. So the other thing to keep in mind is Lilius is like the is one of Soul's puppets, and even if I agree with some of her conservative religious views, she doesn't. She does whatever Soul tells her to do, and she is part of the deep state. Whereas Nia may be a liberal, but I think she's sincere in her desire to try to improve the country. And I'm less likely to think that she's going to snake me. Or she would at least stab you in the front. Nia, I feel she would just resign from her position and tell you to fuck off. Whereas with Lilius, I think that she would just like snake you from behind the scenes. So, okay, I'm going to go with the Ministry of Justice. Bad decision making. How dare you fund the police? Okay, here's my proposal. Corruption has been always been a major issue with any government, is the root of all evil. That's why I'm proposing the formation of the anti-corruption police. The anti-corruption police would be given full authority by the presidency to investigate corrupt government officials and citizens. This would come in handy when dealing with corruption in higher positions, the Supreme Court and oligarchs. Okay, so we're gonna form the anti-corruption police. We're gonna, if they go after Marcel though, then no, we're not gonna deal with that. So we're gonna tell them to not deal with it. Okay, so it looks like we got a whole bunch of statuses updated. Okay, let's see here. Anti-corruption campaign, so that's good. Efficient judicial system. The implementation of new technology and streamlined processes has reduced the court backlog and reduced to quicker responses by justices. This has resulted in fewer delays and a more just legal system. That's good. Positive judicial personnel. Okay, so the law enforcement community is happy. Uh, okay, so it looks like things are pretty good. Let's look at the economy. Um, Welfare. Order. We'll see how this stuff goes. Okay. So what's next on the docket? An evening walk with Monica. Okay, so there's a protest. They're saying they're taking it through too far. Let's. Okay, we're just gonna go for a walk inside the gates. Okay. So how was your day? How was yours? Avoiding my question, are we very well? Caught up on reading with the children. Okay. Uh, Evelyn also came around for tea. She says hi. She was feeling rather low. Apparently, she and Peter had a bit of a disagreement. Um, okay, so Peter in the doghouse again. How did it happen? Apparently, Peter had too much whiskey as usual and didn't behave when Evelyn's father went over for dinner yesterday. You know, Peter, what do you think about this? That's Peter perpetually pickled. I'll have a talk with him. Good. Evelyn seemed close to tears. Yeah. Um, Okay, aren't you glad we don't have these quarrels? Let's see here. You know, Evelyn hasn't been the same since what happened to her at Whole Sword Post last year. You remember how she got fired for supporting Alfonso? Peter tried everything to get her job back, but it didn't work. Sad day for journalism and free speech in Swordland. Who? My friend from university. We're in Swordish leadership classes together. Okay. Right, that Janice. Okay. She recently became pregnant and asked her boss for paid maternity leave, and guess what? She was fired for it. Based. No, I'm not gonna. I'm just joking. Hiring secretaries. Okay, so we got that done. Okay. Women in this country are still seen as wives and mothers first, human beings second. It's, how dare you view women as being able to produce human life? They work. They're harassed at work, underpaid, blocked from positions of power, and they are the lucky ones. Well, but they aren't blocked from positions of power. Like half your cabinet is female. There's a number of the Supreme Court justices are female. There are still places in this country where little girls like Dana are denied the right to an education. On these little people, these little girls and people like Janice need someone to speak on their behalf, a role model, a successful woman. Which brings you to my point. I know the mayor of okay, let's see here. Uh will be delivering a speech at the opening of the Benfey festival. My wish is to take his place and deliver the speech. He had started his career in Benfey before rising to power. Replacing him with Monica would likely anger him, probably not enough to cause a huge incident, but enough that he might use his influence over the Conservatives to block me in the assembly. I want to base the speech on women's rights in Swordland, on the oppression and discrimination we face every day, on the basis of our sex alone. I want our voice to be heard, and this festival is the time to do it. I just need your blessing as my husband and the president of Swordland. I like some of the Women's Liberation Act that later on I don't even disagree with. Like I agree with criminalizing domestic violence. I don't mind women getting proper educations. Some of it is kind of cringe though. Okay, so I'm gonna go with absolutely not out of the question. I don't understand. All I've done to support you. You can't support me on this. Um, I can't make him angry. What little trouble this causes in the short term is nothing compared to the lasting positive change it will bring, not just for women, but for all of Swordland. I don't think so. If that's truly how you feel, so be it. Okay? I don't care if your constitutional amendments fail to pass and you aren't able to enact real societal change. All I care about is I don't know, whatever the women's thing is. Okay, so okay, research council is willing to okay. Taurus holding might miss their target. I didn't support the bill like you, Mr. President. The reason is simple. I know it will cause issues with police costs. There's little point in passing that bill late. Maybe the best way of doing it is replacing the Strikers, why don't we just do what they want and pass the worker rights bill and give in to the rabble? Uh, okay. Oh, okay. So they changed this. Okay, so previously it was two budgets to pass, 2 points to pass it the first time, and 1 point to pass it the second time. But they changed it. Um, so I really don't have the. Okay, I'm gonna go back and sign it. I'm sorry, guys. This is really annoying because they completely reversed how that particular thing worked. So I'm just gonna speed through this stuff. Uh, or I could just cheat to get myself money. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. It's bullshit that they changed that. Okay. Okay, let's just do it. I'll have to make up the money somewhere else. Okay. Right, I'm heading for a sovereign debt crisis. So we're gonna do something we really shouldn't do, and we're gonna raise taxes. Um, because I need to raise taxes. Okay, nice to see you again. You know what? No, fuck it. I'm gonna go back. Sorry, guys. It's hard. It's hard to make these decisions. I'm just gonna wait them out. I can't afford to have my budget that fucked this early in the game. There are a couple things coming up that are going to give me a substantial amount of money, but um, I can't go too far down. Okay, we're going to replace the striking workers. Okay. So I lost some popularity over that, but I'm not super worried. Okay, changes to the taxation system. Okay, I'd like to mention some rumors I heard. Vetoing the Workers' Rights Act. Okay. I wanted to sign it, but I had to make the right call. You've done the right thing. The way I see it, we can improve workers' rights and the minimum wages once the economy's out of a free fall. So we're going to go with that. Okay. Ultimate goal here is to end the recession. Okay. We can increase, maintain, or decrease taxes for large corporations. I believe some of us in the room have a few strong opinions about this. In parallel, we can increase, decrease, or maintain the taxes for small and medium businesses. Is there any downside to keeping things as they are? If we don't make any change, nothing will change. To stop the recession, we have to do something. Agreed. What if we decrease? What does everyone think we should do? It doesn't seem that would be the best action. They're the backbone of our economy. An increase should be out of the question. What if we increase taxes? Our government is already in debt. This may be a way of getting out of it. Let's see here. What if we decrease taxes? It's not an option at this point. Our state is broke. I see. Ready to make a decision. So I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do. What do you guys think I should do? Should I decrease? Should I decrease? I'm kind of tempted to do this one. Um, it won't give me as much budget. I think I'm going to go with this. Good work. I don't know if that was the right decision or not, but let's see here. Okay, small business is growing. You know what? I think this is a good compromise because I vetoed the Workers' Rights Act, but I'm giving a benefit to small businesses. So I think that's fair enough. Alfonso's foundation asked for a donation. I'll donate. That helps my public personal popularity. Okay. All right, it's time for some feminist stuff. The prestigious Torrin Hill School was situated close to the suburbs, just outside the city center. Okay, that must be the principal. Right this way, sir. The principal was a man of short. He looks like an Amish guy. Okay, he approached us. That won't be necessary. Let him through. Mr. President, it's an honor to meet you. Shake his hand and smile for the cameras. It's good to be here. Miss Walda, glad that you could come. I'm pretty sure that I'm pretty sure she's a communist. Yep. Are you going to read a book to the school children in a moment of national emergency? Well, I mean, wait a minute. The symbol of Swordland is a goat. So I could read my pet goat, I guess. Looks more like a military institution than a school, which is kind of base, to be honest. Discipline is the utmost importance. We need more educated people, not soldiers. I can assure you that our students are very well educated. In fact, our school is one of the top 10 middle schools in all of Swordland. Kind of like his Ratata is in the top 10% of all Ratatas. Uh, okay, daily student oath. I am a sword, my strength lies in my blood. I will respect our honorable elders, I will protect the young. My life belongs to Swordland now, and it will belong to it forever. I will always follow the guiding light of Colonel Soul and the great swords. Victory is at hand. Words to remember. No one even remembers it after they graduate. Well, you don't. I think the Pledge of Allegiance is base, to be honest. If you wish to follow me, okay. This here is my son. The boy came before me and saluted like a military officer. Tell the principal what you want to be. Mr. President, I want to be a general, sir. I'm ready to sacrifice myself for my country and you, sir. Based. I will do whatever I can to not let that happen. Thank you, sir. Okay. The camera flashed. This is simply ridiculous. You are raising soldiers here, not students. Well, they need to be soldiers to fight for our national liberation. I could, or, uh, she's our top student in her school. Her grades are excellent. R2. She bent down and gently addressed the young student. What do you think about this school just between us girls? I'm sick of having to knit and sew while the boys learn science and chemistry. I'm smarter than all of them. Why do I have to take these stupid handicraft classes? Oh no. It's so bad. Like, was the education system ever that bad? Like, was it really that, like, the girls only were allowed to do like handicrafts? I don't know. My math and reading scores are the best in the school, but they won't let me take the classes I want just because I'm a girl. I want to be a scientist, not some soldier's wife. Well, couldn't you be both? Like, I want to be dysgenic and not pass along my high IQ to the next generation. Like, I don't really have a problem with women being educated. So I'm gonna go with that. Saw a large portrait of Colonel Soul. I'm not gonna say anything. Okay. Victory is at hand. So like it's I don't know. This game makes me feel like I'm a lot less edgy than I thought I was because I'm taking a lot of like the moderate options. Yeah, I'm going to agree with reforming the education system. I kind of have to reform the education system because of the path I'm going down, but I don't know. It seems a little bit ridiculous to me. Part of this is like can be justified by the worship of Colonel Soul is cringe because Soul wasn't even that based. So yeah, when you run a conservative country, it's easy to be a moderate. That's true. That is a very good point. On top of that, young girls are denied the same opportunities. Like a lot of the really G-slur stuff hasn't happened yet in this country, um, so it doesn't feel that bad. Uh, Nothing's changed since I went to school. Women like me, Lilith, Nia, even your wife, we had to study twice as hard to reach the same university education that you and Lucian took for granted. Is that the kind of country you want your daughter to grow up in? Fuck you. We need to free the minds of young people. Very well. What do we need to do for education reform? We need to keep politics out of the curriculum. Soul should be only viewed as a historical figure. Children shouldn't have to repeat his name every day. That seems fine with me. Uh, okay, that's good. Girls and boys the same. Instruction, handicrafts like knitting and sewing should be taught to both sexes or not at all. Like to be perfectly honest, it probably would be more useful to if like boys knew how to sew than most of what they teach at school. Sewing, I can't sew, but sewing is a very useful ability. So, okay, Lucian, what do you think? As much as I respect Colonel Soul, his time has passed. Now is our time. I do think this might be the first step of a larger plan. We're going to reform the education system. The ministry began formulating plans on how to effectively use the money. But before moving forward, the question of keeping education fully state funded or allowing for new private schools to open, we're going to be pursuing privatization. I'm against it, but it would give us additional funds. It would support our overall strategy of promoting a market economy. Um, we're going to do privatization. Okay, thank you for your time. I hope I'm not coming across as being too much of a neo-lib when I'm doing this, but I don't know. Like Swordland needs modernization. Soul did kind of like run the thing into the ground during his time. The Grunny Regional Development Investment is a proposal by Gus Manager to bolster Swordland's rural economies and secure the nation's food sustainability. The plan envisions a judicious amount of resources to vitalize agricultural committees, fortified food security, and elevate the regional potential. So I'm going to initiate new crop research because it's only one. Uh, okay, rural development plan. Okay. All right. Meeting with Gloria Tori. So we're gonna meet with Gloria Tori now. So okay, which is only a 5 minute drive from the palace. I have a private meeting with Gloria Tori. Gloria Tori is based off of Margaret Thatcher. Also, Gloria Tori is like the most conservative name possible. Is yeah. Well, no, John Tory. John Tory was the most conservative name possible. Okay, she had extensive control over both our party's conservative and moderate wings. Okay. All right. Good morning, Miss Tory. Good to see you here, Mr. Rain. It was a small, neatly organized office. There were small figurines and plants around the place that had a homey feel. How are you doing, Miss Tory? I'm fine, Mr. Rain. How are you? As good as I can be. That's what we strive for. Let's keep this simple. We both know why you are here. You want me to give you my support. I don't see why the backbone of the United Sword Party would support your rush reforms. Don't you realize they go directly against the wishes of the founder of the party and the state? It's all in the name of democracy. Even though you own everything to Colonel Soul, I think you never liked him nor the party he built. I would never betray our party. Whatever you intend to do, you will be facing quite the opposition. That's all I can say. I'm sure you can make a deal. I'm not so sure about that. Especially considering the fact you're trying to change the member of honor law. That's clearly a move against President Soul. You want to punish him for the aggressive policies he pursued in the past. Is that the intention here? You can't win this fight, Mr. President. Soul built this republic in the midst of blood and chaos. He uh, demands respect. Uh, okay, I'll remove the changes to the member of honor law from the proposal. Great, now we can start talking. I must say I like the changes regarding the appointment of ministers, but moving on. You know what? I believe I can give you the help you require. Just don't forget, Mr. President, the conservatives will be expecting a lot from you, and I will be expecting a lot from them as well. Because I don't think any of my other policies are against what the conservatives want. They're okay with decrees. They're okay with the veto. They're okay with term limits. I think everything else that they're okay. So you can't privatize healthcare. If you privatize healthcare, then Gloria will sink you. I have serious reservations about privatizing healthcare or the sort of state corporation. The support of my faction can change. This will depend to some extent on your policies, but the signatures at least are as good as gathered. Thank you. I'll do what I can. Before you finish, there's one thing I need to say. I'm against your efforts to privatize educational institutions. Uh, okay. Okay, now I have to meet with the reformists. I don't really know if the reformists are going to do much. I'll play chess with Lucy because I don't want to go home to my family because fuck my family. I just don't want to be around them. Okay. Okay. I'll take white the honor of the first move. I'm gonna go with the ZN defense. Okay, let's see here. I'm gonna turn the game into a tactical melee. Attempt the Roomish Gambit. Okay. Okay. Last from our victories, though. Okay, I'm just gonna. I have to turn the oven on because I'm gonna be putting my dinner. Okay, let's see here. Rare look of contentment. The high stakes and strategical. Okay, let's see here. I can tell you that there were instances where I found myself in the middle of, let's call it, intelligence work. It was a complex dance rife with deception and shadows. Um, so you were a spy? Sounds fascinating. Spy is a simplistic term, Mr. President. My past roles were, let's say, less than conventional. I serve for the national interest of King Edmund. Much as I love to elaborate, I must take my leave. Thank you very much. Good night, Mr. President. Mr. President, welcome. I'm feeling pretty good. What's his problem? Um, President Curley holds too much power. Um, no, I know we aren't. Um, I can't let the assembly control me. I thought you wanted to discuss a change. I'm sure there's some other way to convince you. I'm all ears. Let's see here. If you give us your support, you'll be VP in my next cabinet. An interesting proposal, one that's very hard to turn down. Can I hold you to that promise? I don't intend to run with Peter again. It'll be you, I promise. Good, that looks like we have a deal. I will talk to my guys shortly. Thank you, Mr. Calvin. There's a 0% chance he's going to be my VP. I'm going to snake on him. Also, there's no paper trail. Brothers and sisters of United Swordland. The people of Swordland have spoken. They blame our institution. No, I'm not going to betray Peter. I'm going to betray that guy. I'm bullshitting. I'm telling him that he's not going to be he's my running mate, but he's not going to be my running mate. I mean, what is he going to do, like, after the Constitution gets passed? Like, try to impeach me? Okay. I love the Republic. I love democracy. I told them what they must do and what's expected of them. The reformers wing on the left stood up and started clapping loudly. Most of the other party members joined in. Kip. There we go. Okay, I forget if his trials. Oh, balance of power in Eastern Mercopa. Arcasia offers aid. There we go. I was waiting for this. Arcasian Foreign Minister Laurent Martel has proposed an extensive aid package for Swordland. This package includes financial assistance, logistical support, and equipment aid. In return, Arkesia seeks refueling and repair at Swordland's Air Force Base, in addition to occasional flyover rights. Okay, that's basically nothing, and I get a bunch of money, and I get investments. Investments from Arkesia. Many Arkesian companies are opening new branches, expanding their existing operations, and forming Swordish based subsidiaries. Okay, religious harmony bill. So this is going to be an interesting one. Let's read through this. In an endeavor to promote religious harmony and unity, the Grand National Assembly introduces the Religious Harmony Bill, establishing regulations for religious affairs across Swordland. All sermons conducted in the Day of Dissension ceremony will henceforth be held in the Swordish language. This move is aimed at promoting inclusivity and a common understanding among workers. Section 2 regulates the language of sermons in other parts of Swordland. It prohibits the use of bloodish for sermons unless explicit approval has been made obtained from the Archpriest of Swordland. This measure ensures consistency. Section 3 all applicants to the priesthood must have Swordish lineage to be eligible for their salaries and pensions. I'm going to veto this because I don't agree with it. I don't want to interfere with their religious traditions. Also, the idea that like we're restricting who can become a priest to certain things is bad. All right. We were 3 million rent. We have made gains. Okay, back in a second. I just have to put this in. Dinner in the oven. Pop it in the oven. Okay. Receive profits for the investment. Isn't that great? Great news. How much did we gain? You'll love it. Total we made 4 million wet ren. Okay. Right. Very well. Keep me up to date with other opportunities. We have another cool opportunity we're going to do. It sent me a new radio. Oh, wow. Okay, that puts me up to 7 personal wealth. Okay, so I need to reserve at least 4 personal wealth in order to bribe the assembly to pass my constitutional reforms. So, okay. Okay. We need more immigration. Okay, there's no immigration. Uh, then their armies will come. You'll see. I do not approve of this decision at all. Don't be so dramatic. We need to be friendly with our potential allies. Allies. Swordland has no allies and never did. Well said. We can't be naive. We could. We have to have hostile relations with every country on Earth. Okay. Superpowers. You think closing off their borders? Soviet Union allowed immigrate open border immigration. Uh, we must modernize to reach the superpowers. Okay. Uh, let's move to the solution. I'm ready to make my decision. We will tighten the immigration laws. Okay. There we go. Else that left be said? No, thank you very much. Okay, so immigration has been restricted. Yes, we are finished. So that'll make it happier with the. Oh wait, is this nationwide broadcast quelled? Law and order have been restored throughout the country as the nationwide protests have been quelled. Thanks to the devoted efforts of the security forces, the government took swift action to address the protesters' concerns. Resolution to the crisis. Okay, so that's all. Looks like that's going pretty good. Oh, this. Okay. New venture, the Gentleman's Club. After for past months, they've been hosting a saloon of sorts, not just for politicians, but also for artists, entertainers, people of taste. There's only one rule: no wives or girlfriends allowed. Yeah, that sounds like that's going to go really well. Um, yeah, no wives and girlfriends allowed. That's it's a good call there, Peter. I'm sure. I'm sure that's all going to work out for the very best, buddy. Okay, let's see here. Anton, the real party can start. No, Peter, the real party isn't going to start. The man himself, the fourth president of Swordland, Mr. Anton Rain. Thank you. Okay. Good evening. Don't know of any better cure for stress than a personal drink. Raise your glass. The tradition dictates that as the club president, I have to remind you of our house rules. There are only three: no politics, no wives, no one sober. I don't know. This seems like a really bad idea. I'm just gonna sip it. How are you paying for all of this? Let you on a secret. Gus Manger has a lot of contacts in real estate. He brokered an amazing price for me. Corrupt land destination, corrupt land deals. I'm sure that's going to work out for the best. I'm sure there's going to be absolutely no one who's going to that's not going to backfire at all. Okay. So this is what you've been hiding from Evelyn. No one is hiding anything. She knows how important it is for men like us to blow off steam once in a while. I don't know, dude. That does not sound like a good idea. Let's see here. On her plate were toast points slathered in lesbian caviar. I took a bite. It was rich, salty, tasting of pure seaside. I could almost hear the sound of waves. Best caviar in the world. I'm telling you, Anton, there are few pleasures in life that are this. I had caviar once in Spain. It didn't really taste like anything. It was just kind of like crunchy and salty, and that was about it. Look, there's Gus. Why don't you talk to him? I'll be back in a minute. I'm gonna try to like tell Peter, no, Peter, don't. Don't let the thoughts control you, Peter. And he's like, no, I'm going to let the thoughts control me because I think with my dick. Well, as a wise man once said, is it still a mistake to stick with your think with your dick if your dick has an IQ of like several hundred? I mean, I think this is a good like if your dick has an IQ of 200, is it okay to think with your dick then? These are the kind of questions that we need answers to. Um, some people's dicks are that smart. Okay, let's see here. Sorry, I'm just checking something else on another screen. Yeah, so Peter is a massive degenerate if you haven't noticed. His sex scandals are a clear and present threat to your administration, so something's going to have to be done about him at some point. Whether that means he gets whacked or, I don't know. We'll see, I guess. Okay, let's see here. I'm just going to the washroom. See you shortly. Gus manager comes over. Mr. President, toast to our new member, everyone. How long have you been a member? Since the beginning. It's fun, gathering, and lucrative at times. You've heard from Peter that I arranged the deal for this mansion. He also told me you might be interested in other potential opportunities as well. Let's take a walk. The building sure is amazing. Okay, I'll take the cigar. 1 second. Sorry, just checking something quick. Okay, let's see here. So we have there are two things. You can buy a vineyard, nice but rather neglected, a well-renowned vinter. The other is the other. There's also the option of a football partnership. I only already own a large amount of FC Enrica, and I'm doing my best to make them champions. Buying in would be a lot more expensive than the vineyards, so we're going to invest in football. So fund the Swordfish football team. Yeah, so Peter disappeared. He showed up down below with some thought. Um, so he's clearly having an affair on his wife. I don't know like what I'm supposed to really do about it. I guess throw him under the bus is like my only real option. I mean, I know there's bros before hoes, but if Peter's gonna act like a retard, I don't feel obligated to save him. Uh, it's been an hour. Where were you? I told you the washroom. Trust me, you rather not know the details. Well, Mr. Alfonso, have you been enjoying my hospitality? Indeed, I have, Mr. Vector, and you put together one hell of a gathering. If you excuse me, I'm going to go have a quick word with the CEO of Swordfish Petroleum. We'll talk soon. Alfonso gave me a brutish wave and walked off. Nice guy, a shitty president, but a nice guy. I'll give you one more chance. Where were you? I had too much Swordfish whiskey, meeting the lesbian caviar can lead to a gentastrol. While you were gone, I saw two people kissing in the hedge maze. Probably the kitchen staff getting frisky with each other. What do I even pay them for? Peter, you know you can tell me anything. Yeah, I know. Trust me, it's nothing. Want a drink? Um, Besides me, of course. Yeah, yeah, Peter's having an affair. I mean, it's pretty obvious. So I think I'm going to cut it here for today. I hope people are enjoying it, and we will pick it up next time. I feel like we actually got a fair